This is for Richard Hatch. My brother has asked me to say something to you. He is a United States Air Force F-15 pilot. He's stationed in Vance Air Force Base right now. And
what's his name, please?
James Gifford.
Cool.
And he wanted you to know that when he watched you when he was little, you gave him the courage to go after a dream to be a fighter pilot when you annihilated the Soviets.
Thank you very, very much from the bottom of my heart. And to come up afterwards, I'd love to give you some contact information for him so we can talk. I would very much appreciate that.
My question is for Mr. Callis. Who do you find more challenging to play, the atheist Gaius or the God-loving Gaius?
I definitely find the God-loving Gaius to be far more challenging. That's just because of where I come from. I was given a book about 2 years ago by Aaron Douglas called The End of Faith by a man called Sam Harris. And it's quite brilliant. It disseminates all of the cultural, political, I would say, problems that are going on in the States and why 9/11 happened. Anyway, one of the things I found so fantastic and interesting about it, he says that we call the people who blew up the Twin Towers, we call them fanatics. And what does it mean to be a fanatic? He's like, the only thing that these people are fanatical about is their faith. And in a world, I'm like basically paraphrasing some of his tracks, but he's like, if you resurrected a man from the 13th century, it's like, what would he know about childcare? Zip. And what does he know about geography? Not very much. What does he know about technology? Zero. What does he know about God? Just as much as you, because the concept of God hasn't changed in over 500, 600, maybe over 1,000 years. And this adherence to this ideal is actually clipping the wings off our common sense. And one of the other things he says that's really funny is that, a man can stand up in the pulpit and say, God spoke to me last night in a dream. The congregation is like, oh, did he? Great, that's very interesting. But a similar man can say, I wired myself to a toaster and I spoke to God, and we're going to stick him in a mental asylum. So I find the concept of God loving on that level really, really difficult because of my own beliefs.
And that no matter how much you love a character, there are times when you absolutely hate them. And no matter how much you hate a character, there are times when you find them really likable. And so
when do you hate the Chief? When could you possibly have hated the Chief?
There's that thing where
security, take the shot.
So I was wondering, as an actor, how much fun is it to jump back and forth over the line between likable and reviled?
No comment. No, actually, one of the things I thought was interesting about the show, and one of the things I wanted to bring to this thing, was genuinely not to be likable. Because I see that all the time on television. People are just like, hey, like me, and I got a great smile. Hey, isn't that cool? I'm like, no, that's like, excuse me, BS. And I think that's, yeah, BSG. I think that's one of the things I always said about the show, and the thing I thought about it was like, it's the end of the world, and if you can possibly do your neighbor a disservice, you will, because we're that petty. And I love the idea of people. This actually came to me when I was at drama school. I was with this guy who was pretty raw, and he walked over to this guy in the pub and he was like, where's my £5 Where is it? And I was like, God, I would never do something like, if I wanted the money that I'd given somebody, I'd take them aside slightly and, not say it in front of the whole pub. And then I realized, but that's what he did is like really real, because he doesn't care. It's not about for the camera. It's not about, hey, where's my £5? It was real. He wanted it. It was important. You get your fingers dirty and it's gritty Absolutely. So on that level, I think it's, I think we've all tried to do that kind of thing. It's kind of a bit more fun to be, and somebody came up to me yesterday and they said, everybody was so unlikable. Why was I watching it? It's actually, that's kind of one of the reasons why I became glued on this series, because everybody seems so human. And then you can, when you despise somebody, you find things in them that you do admire, it makes you think more of them.
And tell them to frack off, or get me off your fracking ship. I mean, it kind of feels good sometimes.
It seems to me that when we tell the truth, we piss people off, you know. So we spend a lot of time kind of pretending to say and believe things we don't.
When I heard Richard talk, I saw James Callis in a video with Bear McCreary, which was hilarious. And I'm wondering what all of your relationship is with Bear McCreary and how the music...
Who?
Come on now, he's great. How does the music influence your performance on the show, and what's your relationship with developing the music?
I have nothing to do with the music. And I don't think about the music when I'm doing the show. I like Michael Reiner's decision to, when they were in the miniseries, he said, when we're out of space, I don't want anything. It's a vacuum, there should be no sound. So when I watch the show, those kind of, I find myself paying more attention to the music and the soundtrack on Battlestar Galactica than any other show. Particularly at the end of Flight of the Phoenix. I'm Scottish, and when the bagpipes come up and you know, the Celtic flutes and all that kind of stuff, I cannot help but start crying. And then, yeah, I love that stuff. Bear McCreary is unbelievably talented. The man is a genius, absolutely. But he lives in a little room and just creates. We don't let him out.
First off, I'd like to say we're going to miss seeing you every week in my family, and I think I'm probably not the only person thinking that. My question is about the acting, and specifically in my job. When I work with some people, I get really excited about, well, I get to work with.
Alright, so it seems like everyone on the cast does an imitation of Edward James Olmos. I don't know. I'm wondering whose is the best.
Hey, you know, for read-throughs, every episode the director comes and we do cast read-throughs. And guess who reads Eddie?
It's great when I have to see it with myself. Eddie and the chief, or Tyrrell and Dom are having a scene, and you just go back and forth, and I have like 2 full pages where it's just me talking. It's great. I feel like Callus. I'm going to go sign now, and I'm going to take my buddy Colin with me. He's not announced or anything. He's not in the book, and this is his first time ever doing one of these things. I added him like a couple days before I flew out here, and he went out and bought a bunch of pictures. This is the only time you're going to be able to get pictures from Alan Nowhere, because he's moving on to another show, and he hates cons. So come by and say hi, and get a picture for my buddy Colin.